Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Wow. Kind of take that away. It was like reflecting all over me. But what's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Saturday chill, day before Halloween. So we're good. We are definitely good. And as I'm waiting for people to jump in, yeah, I know the title. The title is a bit pushy. Gearing up for Halloween. For those coming in, go and tell me what you plan to be for Halloween. If you're the replay crew, tell me what you are going to be for Halloween. Definitely would like to know. And I don't know if that was a spider. Wow. It is. I just crushed it. So. And that's later than my usual for live stream, so. Ours won't be too long, though. Got some last minute stuff I got to do this afternoon. So. That's kind of the idea, is to get some last minute stuff done. As you're coming in, feel free to say hi. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to talk about a few things. Wow, this is like really bothering me. The sun in its position right now is probably the worst. It's not where like I would want it to be. So, alrighty. Anyways, let me just go ahead and kick it off into it. If you catch the replay, that's dope. So as the title implies, you need the Pixel 6. I'm hearing some of this stuff. Some people are, obviously generally they're like, yeah, they feel like I'm going to thoroughly be happy with the Pixel 6 or the 6 Pro. And I get that. And then some people who just like, what are you waiting for? You need the Pixel 6 now. Joe, how's it going? This notion that I need the Pixel 6 now, I think is odd. Because my Pixel 5 is still doing great. As a matter of fact, just, I don't feel like that, being on a Pixel 5 is any type of hindrance whatsoever. And so the need to have the Pixel 6 immediately right now is just not there. Do I want the Pixel 6? Yes, obviously I do. And that's the difference between needing and wanting. The Pixel 6 is something that I want, which means that, of course, if I had it in my hand right now, I'd be absolutely happy. However, that it's not a hindrance that I don't have it in my hand. That's the difference. I can live without the Pixel 6. Do I want to have it? Of course. But I can live without it. That's what separates need from want. I'm seeing a lot when it comes to the Pixel 6. What's up, Carlos, man? What's going on, dude? How many updates has the Google Pixel 6 got? Ask Carlos. He's got them. I don't have the Pixel 6 in hand, so I can't tell you, like, how many updates has it had. I can't tell you that. From a standpoint. The only thing that I know is that with my Pixel 5, it got the Android 12 update on the day of the event. And then when I put my Verizon SIM in it, it got another Android 12 update, like 1.88 gigs in size. And I was just wondering why that happened. I already had Android 12. So why is it happening like that? And, I don't know. Maybe it does some sort of configurations with the software update that my Pixel 5 for it being on Verizon could possibly be. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so I'm back down to square one as the little bit of money I had saved up, I kind of donated it. So I'm back to square one when it comes to saving up for the Pixel 6, which is okay. I mean, the person that got it obviously needs it more than I do. So things happen in this world, man. There's a lot of things that's happening in this world today that I think is just kind of crazy. There is a woman here, who is going through tough times, and she originally got scammed by people who she thought were the realtors for a house, and ended up, giving them $10,000 that they set up a fake escrow account for, give them $10,000, and the people got away with 10 grand. And, she had already opted to move out. So her and her kids are, currently facing being homeless. Thankfully, some of the hotels here in my city are actually being converted into becoming a housing shelter for families and stuff like that. So that is a plus in all the madness that's going on. However, yeah, it's kind of sad. When high crimes and stuff like that happens and someone gets, physically assaulted and is put in the hospital, needs help, sometimes the things that we want has to be set aside for what someone else could need. Because I would sure appreciate, if I was in that type of trouble and stuff like that people would come through to help me out. And so, yeah. Melanie thought it was crazy that I gave that up, and it was for a worthy cause. So that's good to know. That someone else is going to benefit it instead of me just getting a new phone. I can always just wait longer and get a new phone, and that'll be fine. But this whole notion of you need the Pixel 6, no, I don't need the Pixel 6. I want it. There's a difference. The need to have it is just not there. I'll live without it. And I think, a lot of people that fill in that boat, because it's the pressure. There is pressure whether people see it or don't see it, right? When you're on social media and you see like a lot of people that's kind of going around talking about, they just got their Pixel 6 in the mail and stuff like that, right? Like, people kind of feel left out when they haven't even ordered it and things like that. I know, because people have conveyed that to me. Not gonna throw names out there. Identity's protected. However, you know what? Like, I don't want anyone making fun of them or anything like that, but they genuinely feel that way, and that's understandable. It's understandable, but you know what? You're not missing anything. To those people out there that are in that boat, you're not missing anything. You will get yours if you choose to get yours. If you choose not to, you choose not to. What was it? I watched Chris Perillo's impressions of it, and they weren't favorable. He didn't have a favorable impressions about the Pixel 6 Pro. There were some things about it that he saw that, to him, switching from the S21 Ultra to the Pixel 6 Pro didn't seem like it was in the cards for him. And of course, he's going to spend more time with the device, and he'll come back and he'll do some more reviews on it and such, and see if anything's changed, if any software updates had mitigated any of the issues that he's facing with his Pixel 6 Pro. But currently, at this time right now, he says that he's very underwhelmed. He's not whelmed, he's not overwhelmed, he's underwhelmed with the Pixel 6 Pro, which is kind of sad, because leading up to the Pixel 6 Pro, I can see all the excitement in his face when he was talking about the things that he's heard. And afterwards, seeing the way he is right now, yeah, it seems like it's been a letdown to him to this point so far. That's not his overarching review of it. That's just it right now so far, and it's understandable for the things that he's pointed out and that he showed on his video or his live stream today. That it was on his live stream. He's seen it on his live stream and it showed it to us. So it's not like something that he recorded and uploaded. He showed. It happened during his live stream. Some of these things that he was talking about that were negatives when it came to the Pixel 6 Pro, and I deeply understand, because I would feel the same way too. As much as I like a product and as much as I back a brand, doesn't mean that I am going to excuse every wrong thing that happens to it. You have to call it for what you see it. And for his Pixel 6 Pro to be opening up a ghost tag, I think that's what he called it. Anyways, initially what happens is that he puts his phone down, and the screen turns white, and it says there's like this ghost tab. There's this ghost tab that's been activated. It's to absolutely nothing. It's not linked to any application or anything like that, and it periodically happens to him. And I was just like, wow, like I'm amazed that that's actually happening to his unit. And he's not part of Team Pixel, so his was a straight purchase unit. and he's experiencing problems, and that's sad and scary at the same time. And it's just like, well, hopefully Google addresses it and mitigates that problem with software update, because I am a software guy, and so if this is the type of software we're going to be expecting, that's not good. But of course, that's going to be like a whole Android 12 thing. Let me just kind of turn that light around, because I look weird being like half ghost faced and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's something that's like absolutely scary. That's something that why is that happening to him? So like, at the same time too, I'm looking to see if other people kind of like comment on this, later on, if they watch the replay and they say, hey, this is happening to my unit too as well. It'd be great to know if this is like an isolated, issue, or if it's like with multiple different devices. Then it's a wider issue. Because this was the first one that I've heard that was able to do that. They did not release Google Pixel Watch yet. Also, I know. I watched the event. I live streamed the event. I know that they didn't. I know that they weren't going to either. Not when back in August they talked about that it was delayed until Q1 of 2022, which obviously means it's got to be sometime in the spring, like maybe March, April of next year. And that's fine. I think we have this demand for things to come out, and not it's not something that we absolutely really need. Like someone's not really going to have such a horrible time without a watch. What I mean by that is that people will say like the experience of the Pixel 6 is going to be lackluster because they didn't release the Pixel Watch. But how? The Pixel Watch is its own separate hardware with its own separate software. Acts as an extension to the phone, but it doesn't mean that the experience on the phone is going to be ruined with the lack of a watch. I know people want the watch because they want to be on par and comparable to the ever so loving Apple community that has a phone and a watch. Samsung has a phone and a watch. So everyone just like has that expectations that Google needs to have a phone and a watch to be relevant. And that's pretty much wrong. It's pretty much wrong in every way. Because I myself, and this is just me, so you guys can say, well, that's just your perspective, Tito. You don't count for everybody. And I know that. I absolutely agree with you there on that. But to me, a watch counts for hella beans when it comes to the experience of a smartphone. The experience of the smartphone is the experience of the smartphone. If it comes with an extension such as a satellite component like the watch, then the watch is going to stand on its own for that. Are you insured in a Google Pixel Fold? Am I assured of a Google Pixel Fold? Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, you can beta test Android 12L is what the software is called. Obviously, you need what's it called? I can't remember the name of that software. Android Studios. You need Android Studios to be able to sideload Android 12L, like on a Chromebook, on a Pixel Slate, or even on a powerful Android tablet. You need Android Studios to do that. Now, what is Android L? Android L is the operating system that is specifically dedicated to being well optimized for foldable technology. Now, Samsung has One UI. They have the coding for Android, and they can build their own. Am I interested in the Google Pixel Fold? I'm not really into foldable technology. I'm really not. Like, as much as like Luttrell is like, balls to the wall, like hardcore when it comes to foldable technology, I am not. I think it's cool. I think this is yeah, it's cool. You got to give it its dues. It's cool, but at the same time, though, I'm just like, well, it's just not something that I feel like is like overwhelming excitement for it. I don't, but I think it's actually cool as hell. And Android 12L is actually leading into that. So like for people who are like, is there like assurance there's going to be some form of a Pixel Fold? Maybe it might not be called Pixel, but there will be a foldable device because Google is specifically building an Android version that is that's predicated towards foldable technology. That is where I see it going. So You can test it out because like I've been watching videos on Android 12L, and this is pretty cool. The multitasking windows and stuff like that they're going to be able to do is actually really quite nice. Of course, it doesn't fit the premise of using it on something such as this, which is why like those features aren't baked into the software for Android 12 for this. Obviously, you know. That's what's going to be on Chromebooks, right? Yeah, Chromebooks. You can actually beta test it on a Chromebook if you have Android Studios. You can sideload Android 12L and beta test it on your Chromebook if you want to. Hopefully, I get my Pixel 6 Pro next week. However, I kind of wish I went with the Pixel 6. I think a lot of people are kind of like starting to feel that pinch. Because there's things about the Pixel 6 Pro that I'm just kind of weirded out by. On it because you wouldn't expect it to be with the Pro model. You would expect it to be with like this, the regular 6 model, but not the Pro model. So that is the problem. When I look at that, I'm just like, okay, Google, what did you do? Why are more people reporting issues with the Pro model?
Turn on Wi-Fi or install a SIM card first.
I don't want to. I don't even want to talk to you right now. But it's like, why are there issues with the Pro model that people are experiencing, and experiencing more issues with the Pro model than they are with anything else? Excuse me, 1 second. Hold on, let me see what my kids want. Okay, just had to take care of something real quick. Pre-orders trade-in for the Pixel 5 was $405 down to $250 down. Gotcha. Yeah, you can trade in. I'm not going to trade in anything of mine at all whatsoever. So that's why I'm buying it outright cash. One, my credit sucks, so I'm not going to be able to do like a finance thing, which I'm going to get into something that, a topic that was actually a conversation on social platform that I figured I would just address, because we do have to be careful about certain things that we say and how we say it. So I'm going to talk about it, and I can care less if people get mad at me for it. But the reality of things is what it is. But I'll get into that here in a little bit. Because reviewers got the Pro model and they want to find issues to make videos and get juicy clicks and stuff. Well, not necessarily, because what's his name? Chris Perillo. He wasn't given the phone. He bought his phone. He pre-ordered his phone, and it arrived, and he's been using it for the last week. And there's some straight out buggy issues with the Pixel 6 Pro. Seriously, like so much to the point that if you watch his live stream that he did this morning, he puts his Pixel 6 Pro down. Okay, so like he's showing you that Twitter is a bit janky and stuttery, but it's like that on most Androids. He talked about how on Samsung devices they mitigated that problem with, I guess, some sort of like software correction, but he's not entirely sure, because on Twitter, on the Samsung device, the scrolling seems to be smoother, he says, but it gets jitter for him like on stock Android and such, which is fine. That's not really a big deal. But as he's showing that, and he's holding the phone just like this, he puts the phone down, and then all of a sudden he's like tripping out, because on his screen it turns completely white, and it tells him that that there's a ghost tab. And what it means by ghost tab is like when you go into your recent apps, you have all these tabs right here. There's one that's completely solid white, almost similar like this, but this is obviously my Life 360 app. But it's almost similar to like this, but it's all white. There's nothing in there. There's nothing inside the tab. And on the top, it tells you it's a ghost tab. Like there's no app attached to it. Like, why is that happening? Why is that happening on something that's considered a Pro model? So, I mean, okay, you know what? Like, there are more and more people who are like more realistic about it, that's coming out and speaking out, right? But there's, it's kind of becoming a bad look for Team Pixel members. And I'm not saying that Team Pixel members are lying to people. They're not. At least the ones that I know aren't going to lie to you guys about things. I can't speak for every member, but the ones I know are not going to lie to you guys about things. But right now, I see this as an isolated issue. So only a couple of people are experiencing things like this or similar to this, or having some sort of issue with their Pixel 6 Pro. But it doesn't mean that everybody's having that same issue. Trust me, Sneed would have told us if he was having some major buggy issues like that with his Pixel 6 Pro. And BTech Reviews and Lady Red And all of them, they would have said something if they noticed that happening to them too. They would have said something like on social media, because they've been very vocal about the Pixel 6 to a degree. They're not trying to give away from their video content, but trust me, if something major like that was happening to them, they would have spoken up. So it's weird that Chris Perillo's unit is doing this, and I mean, it could be a defective unit, possibly so, but you know, they're just little subtle things here and there that's being tossed about that has to do with the Pixel 6 Pro. And like you know, obviously one of the things that I will point out why we're not hearing so much about the Pixel 6 having major issues is because not a lot of people have the Pixel 6 in hand yet. They are just getting them now. Like as of yesterday, as of the day before, and today, those who pre-ordered the Pixel 6 and not Pro version should be getting theirs in the mail today, or FedEx should be rolling up with a package for them. So that's why we're not seeing a lot of people talking about issues with the regular Pixel 6, is because the Pixel 6 Pro was what was given out to Team Pixel members. They didn't get both the 6 and 6 Pro. I mean, MKBHD got the 6 and the 6 Pro and some other big timers, but a lot of the Team Pixel members only got one device, and that was the 6 Pro. And then they got a case to go along with it in a really, really fancy box, which was the Google pop-up box and stuff and whatnot. I don't know why it keeps activating the assistant just because I say the G word. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm starting to notice, is that, you know, some people are starting to have problems with their unit that they got. And so we'll see if it's just an isolated situation. Like in Chris Perillo's situation, I would consider his isolated because he's the only one that's reporting going through that. A lot of other people are not. And then, you know, if more and more people have reported the same things, the same findings, well, then we're going to find out that it's a system-wide issue and not just a isolated issue. And then also, this would definitely have to do with Android 12, more and so, in fact, than it being the Pixel 6 Pro, because software. Could it be the tensor chip that, you know, may be defective in his unit? Possibly. I mean, there's like so many things, but we have to really we have to explore. We definitely have to explore more deeply about it than anything else. So, all right. So the next topic I want to talk about, I'm not going to throw out any names or anything like that. Blaze, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. I'm not going to throw out any names or anything like that because that's not what I do. However, I am going to tell you guys about, you know, the conversation last night that was sparked. Okay, so the conversation sparked, and it was talking about certain things. And I tell people all the time, you have to be careful what you classify what and how you verbalize things, right? Because today, people's emotions are absolutely sensitive. They're the most sensitive I've ever seen it in my entire 39 years of living. And so anyways, there's this thing that was talked about, and it was talked about AT&T and how AT&T is training their employee and staff on a certain thing. That's not where I'm going into, but that kind of started the conversation. And so people were kind of just like shocked that, you know, AT&T would train their employee not store reps, but just, you know, their employees to think in that manner or whatever. And then an interesting subject came from that, where a person basically stated that, you know, like in a nutshell, that companies discriminate against poor people. And, you know, normally I don't partake in things like that, but hearing that, I was like, no, like I had to say something. And it wasn't to attack the person, because I really like the person and I have nothing against them at all whatsoever. However, what they said right there to me was just like, okay, that's gonna start something or start a thought process that doesn't need to be. Because yeah, we tend to get mad at businesses when things don't go our way. We tend to get mad at businesses when we want to be able to do something, yet based on our credit, they don't give us that opportunity. And that's what credit is. At the end of the day, that is what credit is. If you hate that form of system and everything like that, well, then you have to be mad at all the banking families, like the Rothschilds, the what do you call them? The Rockefellers. We have to be mad at them because they're the ones that strategically put this type of plan together and everything like that. Going way, 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 way back in the early 1900s, of course, you know, they basically manipulated the system into having it signed in the Federal Reserve Act. The Federal Reserve Act it's not federal, right? It's like the Federal Reserve Bank is not a federal branch. It's not part of any federal branch. The Federal Reserve Bank is a private bank. So that's something that I say all the time, and people can go look it up if they want to. The Federal Reserve Bank is not a federal institution. It's not part of any federal branch or anything like that. People got to be a little realistic about things. Yeah, how they get in here. But yeah, so anyways, you're trusted based upon the credit that you have. The credit that you have details a history of your financial behaviors. It shows patterns of like how you manage your money and your finances, and it shows how responsible you are, if you are a responsible person or not. At the end of the day, it's always based on your score, right? And it could be on the 3 different scores that you have. They can run a soft pull on your credit and look at your TransUnion. They can do a soft pull and look at your FICO, or they can pull from Equifax, right? So there's 3 different scores they can pull at. Sometimes they can look at all 3 and make a decision on it. Sometimes they'll just pull from one of them and look at the score and then determine. So this person went around basically, in a statement, and I see why, this person was saying, into that context and everything like that. Because it does make you feel like that. Honestly, it does make you feel like that, because you're not in the best circumstances financially, that, it's not fair. But when you kind of step back and you remove yourself personally out of the whole thing, it'll actually make sense. And I always do this with people who always tell me that, when they're always like, yeah, big businesses have a thing against poor people. And it's like, no, they don't. They don't have a thing against poor people. But if you're asking them, like, because literally that's what running your credit and financing a phone is. You're literally saying, in layman's term, you're going and saying, hey, I don't have all the money for this, but I really want to buy it, and I'm willing to make monthly payments on it. Do you trust me to give me the phone now, and I make you monthly payments until I pay off the phone? That is exactly what you're asking any business when you finance something. That's what you're asking them to do. You're asking them on your word to let you take the product now, but make payments on it through time, right? So you're getting what you want up front. The business is not getting what they want up front because they're not getting the full amount that should be paid for that product, right? So the equal hand-to-hand exchange is not happening in this scenario. You are getting it first, and they have to wait for the full amount later. So businesses don't have to do that, but they figured it's good business to be able to build relationships that way. Commerce is pretty much what it is. And so they decided, yeah, we're going to be doing some sort of financial program where you can finance and pay it off over time. Now they can't just do that to anybody. Someone that's got a credit score of 450, right? Honestly, it's not in the playing card for them to be trusted that they're going to be able to shoulder a financial debt of that size. And while it sucks that, you would feel like, oh, they're discriminating against poor people, and you want to use that word, that sets a tone for other people to kind of challenge that system and to create a narrative and spin it based on 75% of personal feeling and 25% facts. This happens quite a bit. Because if a person goes into a business, and say they go into a business, and let's use smartphones because that's what we talk about. Let's say they go in there and they sign up with Verizon, and they want this phone, and Verizon says, okay, we want $9 down, and then you're going to make this much payments per month for 24 months. They agree to it, right? It's not discriminatory if you come back months later and say, hey, I want to open up a second line and I want to get this phone and finance it. And they look at you and they look at your entire finances with them, and they say to themselves, okay, well, You're taking out a second line and you're asking us to finance a second phone, and you're still paying on the other phone that you're financing from us. So with this phone, to finance this one, we're going to need about 65% down. Why are they asking for that 65% down? Well, obviously because they see it that it's more risky on them to do this than it is on you. You don't risk anything except for your credit score. You get the phone, you don't pay it off, you walk away, you find somebody, because they know, they're not dumb. They know that there's people out there who can get these phones unlocked to go on different carriers. So you can default your payment, take your phone, get it unlocked third-party wise, and then go to another provider, and then you still have the phone. You're still using the phone. What says the company that financed you the phone and didn't take any down payment went completely on your word? Well, maybe if you made like 2, 3, or 4 payments, so you've only made like 4%, 5% payment of the cost of the phone. So who takes the loss? The company. Now look at it from this aspect. If they were to play ball that way with everybody and not rely on your credit score, not rely on percentage down payments and stuff like that, if they just finance everybody off jump, 0 down, take the phone, walk away, and say 10,000 people defaulted on their finance obligation, what happens? The consumers eat it the worst, because if they don't implement some sort of change to require some form of down payment, they can raise the prices on their products because they got to somehow recover a percentage of the loss. They can't take a fat loss. They may not be able to recover 100% of the loss, but if they can recover 40%, 50%, 60%, they're going to do it. And where that hurts is the consumers, because they're going to grab it from everywhere. They're going to say, okay, you know what? We took a massive L. So now, our $50 plan needs to be hiked up to $70. We're going to start charging those on the $50 plan $70 a month. Those on the $60 plan are going to be charged $80 a month. Those on the $80 plan are going to be charged $90, or $100 a month. Like everything's going to be eaten. And those who have no financial obligations to the company are the ones that's going to feel the burn. It's not discrimination that these companies go and say, hey, you're already financing a phone with us. We're not going to say no to you, but if you want to take out a second line and finance a second phone and make payments on 2 phones, for the second phone, we're going to need a much bigger down payment than what you gave us for the last one. So we're going to require this percentage of the cost of the phone to be paid up front right now as a down payment, and the rest of it we can finance to you. It's not discrimination at all. And it kind of angers me when people kind of use those words and those things very loosely. X-Gamer Johnny, what's up, man? What's going on? Do you think Pixel Pass is a good deal? I think it's a good deal. You're paying $45 for 24 months for the Pixel 6 plus a bunch of different services like, YouTube Premium, Play Pass. You get insurance on the phone in case of loss or damage. Google Fi if you choose to get Google Fi on it. What was the other one? Google One 200 Cloud instead of what Google Fi offers, which is only a $100 cloud. With Pixel Pass, you get the 200 gigabyte cloud storage plus the different. I don't know if anyone knows this, but besides the 200 gigabytes of cloud storage or 100 on the Google One subscription, you also get like percentage off hotel stays. Like there's benefits for being a Google One member. The last time that my family and I took a vacation, the hotel that we stayed at, we saved a huge bunch of money because that hotel, just for being a Google One member, it was 45% off the daily price. So instead of spending what would have been like $562 to stay at this one particular hotel for 5 days, we ended up paying only, I think it was like $300 and some change. So literally almost $300 off. Pixel Pass means I would lose access to my family plan. Not a good deal. Which family plan? What family plan are you talking about? And yeah, but I mean that would be a, that'd be towards you specifically. And generally for those people who, don't have any of these, even if you have some of these subscriptions like the YouTube Premium, right? They tell you that if you do the Pixel Pass, you have to go in and make some changes to your current subscription in order for you to literally to use it and not have to pay for it anymore. So that's one of the things, But again, like, this is an option that you can choose to go with if you don't want to pay completely upfront. Of course, carriers carry the device too. Like I said, I want to go for the Verizon one, for the Pixel 6, in any of those colors. It doesn't really matter. I like the seafoam green, but it doesn't matter which one I get. But that'll be like later on down the road. What's up, T-Phones? What's going on, man? So yeah, today we have to be careful what we brand and label things. And we're so quick to say things like big businesses are discriminating against poor people because they won't let me finance a phone. Like, that's not a correct statement to say. And that actually breeds, something that doesn't need to happen, right? Because the final way that I put it is, look at it like this. If you had a bunch of, let's say you had a bunch of iPhones and people came to you wanting to buy the iPhones from you, and they asked you to trust them to make monthly payments to pay off the phone, but you give them the phone right now, okay? If you know the person's bad with their finances, are you going to let them take the phone from you and trust them to make the monthly payments on it? If they really want the phone and you want to help them out, what are you going to do? Obviously, you're going to say, okay, look, I sell these phones for, let's say, hypothetically speaking, $600. So you can't pay me the full $600 right now, but you want to take the phone. So how about you give me $200 up front right now, and then you can make payments on the remaining $400. See, it's the same concept. It's just, people are quick to go after these companies and say their actions is very, discriminating against those who are poor. I know. And then again, it's not really poor, because there are people who live paycheck to paycheck that have like perfect credit. They have like a 770, 750, 800 as a credit score, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. So your credit score is not based on your finances as far as like what you make on a monthly basis. Your credit score is based on your habits of loans, credit cards, bills, because they look at all those things, right? If you're constantly making hospital bills and making no arrangement to pay those hospital bills because you don't have medical insurance, that falls on your credit score. If you rent an apartment and you default on your payment to get evicted and you make no effort to pay the owed balance, that affects you. So it's things done by your own hands of why your credit score is bad. Like, I can sit there and say that Verizon's being discriminating against someone like me with a poor credit score because they won't let me finance a Pixel 6. Because I tried and they turned me down. They said they wanted $599 up front. So I'm like, hey, I just might as well just buy it and just completely buy it out. So save up for it and buy it. But I don't feel like that they're discriminating against me because my credit is poor. I made bad decisions. I went at a young age, my 20s. I took out a $15,000 student loan that I am currently paying back because the interest and everything, you got to pay attention to the interest. So I borrowed $15,000 for school. The payback with interest was going to be $23,000. And I am paying that, been paying that. My dad's paying on that too, because he co-signed the loan with me. But I was in the process of buying a home during my first marriage, and because things went sour and everything like that, I made a poor choice. Instead of just going to the realtor and saying, hey, you know what, me and my spouse are going through a divorce. Here's the situation. I am going to put the house up for sale. Instead of doing that, like, I did a stupid thing and I walked away, like packed up and left. House was classified abandoned. The realty property basically took the property back, and that hit my credit. That's something that has to be paid off. Old bills with Sprint from way back in the day, from 2003. Of course, those fell off my credit report, right? So they only stayed on for like 7 years. However, it did leave a derogatory mark on my credit. So like your credit is not something where you can just go and say, I got good credit, give me a credit card and let me burn the sucker up and this and that and the third. It's never about that. And it should never be about that. That's something that I teach my kids right now for them to understand. Credit is not money that you have. Never look at credit as money that you have because it's not yours. But it's basically like, how trustworthy are you? Think of it in that concept. Can you be trusted to make payments on time and to pay off a balance when you need to? Are you capable of doing that? That's what your credit's for. And everyone needs to learn how to use credit. Yeah. Your credit score is everything. It is. It ties into everything. You can't even get an apartment nowadays. And before, you could rent an apartment, no problem. But now when you try to rent an apartment, they want to do applications. And the applications is because they're going to run your credit. They're going to do, some realty companies do a hard pull, which does leave a mark on your credit. It does have a derogatory mark on your credit. So you got to be careful who you're also checking your credit with. You can't just go around and just go to these companies and be like, hey, give me this. And here's my social, check my credit, check my credit, check my credit. You got to look at what they do. Do they do a soft pull or do they do a hard pull? If they're doing a hard pull, that impacts your credit score. If they're doing a soft pull, it doesn't. And what does that actually mean? A soft pull, they're just like peeking through the curtain, like, okay, what's his credit score? A hard pull is like, hey, yeah, let's open the sucker up wide away. Let's take a look at TransUnion, Equifax, and FICO. Okay, yeah, you're not that good. and but that impacts, right? Is that a wallpaper for Pixels? I think it was Simpsons. You mean this one? Rugrats? Or are you talking about? No, I mean, the screen's dark on this. Or do you mean the Rugrats with Doug? If you're talking about the wallpaper that's on here on Restream, this is from Restream. It's jack-o'-lanterns and bats for Halloween. Since tomorrow's Halloween, which I'm excited for. What are you guys gonna be for Halloween, by the way? Tell me. Are you guys getting dressed up? What are you going as? Please tell me. I am interested. But yeah, that's another kind of toss out there. Like I said, and you know, to the person that had that conversation with me, I have no beef with you. So please don't think that, you know, because I disagreed with you that, you know, I feel any type of way. You're still my buddy. I don't think any differently of you. It's just like, you know, when I see stuff like that, like you have to be careful how you verbalize things, because when you say things like that, other people who are like-minded may feel that way, but then they take to social and it just becomes a whole mess, right? Because this is what particularly happens today. You know, a friend of mine who is light-skinned gets called the R word so many times, and he's not. I know he's not. But people throw it because it seems like it's the most easiest thing to just tarnish somebody's reputation right then and there, right? If you have nothing else, if you can't beat them intellectually because what they're saying makes sense and what you're saying doesn't make sense, if everything starts to fall back, then people tend to go straight to that R word and boom, like, oh, I'm gonna call you that now. Now everyone's gonna look at you like you're an idiot, and it's like, it's not cool. You know, you call someone that when you got valid proof, right? You know how people always talk about like don't call someone a snitch unless you got proper documentation, if you got paperwork. If you got paperwork, then you can call them a snitch and handle them. I think the same thing should be done with the R word. Don't call people the R word unless you got proper paperwork on them. Yeah, feed me something that they said that can't be misconstrued for anything else, and then we'll go that route and we'll handle that route. And the same thing I think with saying that companies are discriminating. Before you call a company discriminating, make sure you have factual, you know, like grounds to say that. Find something in their policy that says, okay, you know what, we'll only let these particular people finance from us, but these particular people can't. Like get the documentation for it. Just because that your credit score is poor, or you know you're in a financial gutter and everything like that, you're trying to claw your way out. You can't expect these companies to say, "Oh yeah, we see that you're in a financial gutter. You're trying to claw your way out, so we're just going to give you a pass." Like, no, it doesn't work that way. They're a business, and their main purpose of the business is to make money. That is it, right? Because if the shoes was on the opposite foot, if you own the business, your intentions is making money. Your intentions is not being able to say, I have 10,000 Pixel 5s and 10,000 customers come and none of them can pay up front for it, but they all want it. So they want to finance it. So I'm just going to let them take the phone from me without even putting some sort of down payment down, right? No one's going to do that. You're going to judge people based on what you know about them. And these companies, they don't know shit about us. And they're not going to call us on the phone and say, hi, Tito, how you doing today? Yeah, we're just calling because we want to know what kind of person you are. No, because I can hype myself up to be the most responsible person in the world, and I can absolutely not be responsible, right? So what do they have that kind of gives them an idea of how a person is financially with their money? Your credit score. Based upon not what you tell the credit bureau or what you report to the credit bureau, but from all your financial transactions, whether they were positive or negative, how many times that you had to borrow money, because that does play an effect. How many credit cards do you have? Like if you go out there and get yourself 5 or 6 credit cards, I'll tell you right now, because I used to work for Discover Financial. Okay, so I learned the inner workings of credit card companies. If you have more than 3 credit cards, you are a risk. You are potentially a risk if you have more than 3 credit cards. I know that for a fact. What's up, Gene? Welcome to the live stream. You are a risk if you have more than 3. And the reason why is because the way that the credit bureau looks at that, they sit there and like, okay, you got 5 or 6 different credit cards. Why would you need so much? And are you using one to pay off the debt on the other one? Are you trying to consolidate your debt with one credit card company by using the other one as a payoff to pay off one credit card, and now you owe that to that bank? Because some people do that. Some people will look at what the APR is from a particular bank, and if it's much lower than what they have with their previous credit card, what they'll do is they'll open another credit card through a different bank, get a line of credit from them, and if that line of credit can support to pay off that one credit card, they will pay it off, which will put a positive mark on their credit to a degree. Of course, they know where that payment came from. Like obviously, it came from another credit card. But now you shoulder less of being in debt because the what's the word I'm looking for here? I had it. The interest is much lower. It's much lower than what the other bank was. People do that, and you can do that. That is a smart strategy, but you have to be careful. You cannot keep opening up lines of credit through different banks to try and take care of a debt from another bank, or eventually you're just going to spin yourself out of control and end up owing all those banks, except for the first couple of ones that you were able to pay off. Every business is out to make money. Every business is out to make money. That's them. And the only way they're going to know anything about you is through your credit score. You want more trust. You want to be, trusted on your word. Raise your credit score. Start taking care of some of those derogatory marks. You can get Credit Karma. Sign up for that and watch your credit score. It also has portfolios that are detailed about your credit and certain things that you can do. And it gives you advice. It tells you up front, this is a derogatory mark on your credit with TransUnion and Equifax. If you dispute it and get it removed off your credit report, you will move up maybe 3 or 4 points on your credit. If you pay it all off at once, then you could elevate your credit score from a 601 to a 715. If you make minimum balance payments in a payment plan structure to pay it back, and you pay it back in the next year, you will raise your credit score by 38 points. Like, it gives you a detailed idea of like what decision you do, because there are several things you can do when it comes to your credit, right? Some things you just gotta say like, okay, you know what, like it is what it is, and I can't pay it back. If you can get it off your report, you can. There are a lot of people who've told people about this. Write a letter to the credit bureau. Write a letter to the credit bureau and dispute this on your credit report. What happens is when you send that letter to the credit bureau, they will hit those credit institutions, those that are debt collectors and stuff like that, and they will give them, I think it's 30 days to reply. And so it's up to those companies to put together a detailed portfolio of the debt and send it to the credit bureau as a response. If they don't send it to the credit bureau, the credit bureau in time, or if they don't even do it at all, they don't respond, the credit bureau removes those derogatory marks on your credit off your credit report, as if like that derogatory thing wasn't even yours. So if it was like an outstanding balance, it's removed and your credit score goes up. This is how some people are. You ever wondered like how somebody jacked up their credit so bad and like 2 or 3 years later they went and bought a house and you're like, what the hell? And you know they didn't do any financial changes. You know they didn't become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company overnight. So you're like, how the hell do you do that? Sometimes this is a loophole in the credit system. This is a loophole on how people get it done. You know, this is how they do it. They will go and they will dispute it. There's nothing wrong with you disputing it. Like if you dispute it and they do reply back, it doesn't mean that, okay, you know what, now they're going to drop the hammer on you or anything like that. You know, of course, you can always just sit by and wait for these things to fall off your credit report, which takes 7 years. In 7 years, they will fall off. They will not be on your credit report anymore. That's the longest length I think that something can stay on your credit report is 7 years. I like Credit Karma and Chime. I use Credit Karma and Experian. And the reason why is because Credit Karma shows you Equifax and TransUnion. The Experian app shows you your FICO. So if you want to know what your FICO is, download and sign up for a profile on Experian. And then, yeah, you can check your FICO credit score. Since most companies today, they tend to pull from your FICO score. So you definitely want to know what your FICO score credit is. They will still soft pull against TransUnion. They will still soft pull against Equifax, but also through, what do you call it? Also through your FICO, mostly through your FICO nowadays. So yeah, you can say that it's a bullshit thing that you have to do with these companies and financing a phone. Totally, yeah, you can feel that way. You have every right to feel that way. But we have to be careful the words that we use and the words that we choose to use because it could incite something. Calling a company and saying that it's discriminating against somebody with poor, not necessarily, because there are rich people with very poor credit scores who couldn't finance a damn thing if they tried based on their credit. But obviously they have the money to just walk in and drop the entire amount of cost of the phone. There are people who are poor that have a, excellent credit report. My dad, all the years that he's worked with companies, stuff like that, he wouldn't consider himself wealthy or in that mid-range bracket. He considers himself to still be, poor, living from check to check. But I do know for a fact that he has a pretty excellent credit score. It's just you taking care of your debts. Take care of your debts, people. Take care of them. You may think like, I got away with it. I financed the phone from Sprint in 2005. I ain't got to pay that back. Yeah, but it's gonna be on your credit report. No other company is gonna trust you to finance with zero down when you have that derogatory mark on your report. It's how many things you also have too, because even if you have fair or less than fair credit, they may still go ahead and let you finance with zero down payment, but they may do that based upon looking at your credit report and seeing what you have on your report. If you don't have a lot of debt to that extent, like most of your stuff is because of like hospital bills that went derogatory, or a college loan that you're paid currently on, but they can't find you because you have a different address to contact you and they've got no response. So they're like, oh, I mean, they're still paying us, so they're current with their payments, but we don't know where they are. So derogatory mark on your credit report just to get your attention. And businesses will see that and be like, oh yeah, that's nothing major. Yeah, go ahead. He can finance it maybe like $50 down or $0 down. They'll do that. But if you have like a loan from this bank and get defaulted on money and they took you to small claims, they won, and you still have to pay them, you haven't paid them anything yet. If you have that on your credit report, if you have this credit card, that credit card, and that credit card, and that credit card, and you owe on them and you've made only the minimum balance, you haven't actually made any effort to pay it off. If you had, a vehicle repossessed, like you defaulted on your financial obligation to your car and they came and repossessed the vehicle and took it back from you. If you've been evicted from your home and did not what you owe to the landlord, if all these things are sitting on your credit report, even if you have less than fair or fair credit, they're still going to require a higher down payment because they're looking at that. That is what they're looking for. Your payment history. How well are you at keeping up with your payments and not defaulting on them? Because yes, even if you're the type of person that's like, okay, you know what, like I do have a job and I can do this, and you go in and you're like, I'm gonna be like a week late because I get paid on this day, and you're constantly like that, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be a week late. And what I mean by a week late is that when you owe a bill, there's leeway, right? Like they have like a 7-day leeway, maybe a 3-day leeway. Some are even generous and they give you like a 2-week leeway. Like you can owe the bill today, but it only becomes derogatory on you if you don't pay it within 14 days of today. If you're always past that point paying, yeah, that's gonna leave a bad rep on you. Like, and companies do have the right to make a judgment on if they feel like you doing this is going to ultimately hurt your financial situation. Then yeah, we wouldn't suggest you do it. But they can't tell you, like they can tell you no if they wanted to. But if they didn't have some trust for you, they would never give you the option. If you're financing a phone right now and then you want to take out another line and finance that phone, they're not going to. If they didn't trust you, they would say no. You're only approved for one line to finance one phone at a time. But if they had some slight trust for you, they could be like, okay, yeah, you can take out a second line and we'll let you finance a second device. But maybe for a $700 phone, maybe we want $400 up front. It's not discriminating because they didn't say you can't get it because you're poor. We don't help poor people because they can just easily not let you have an account on their services. As I'm saying, people are quick to use words like discrimination, racism, all that other stuff really fast in scenarios that doesn't even have to do with that. And they don't think of the consequences that comes from that. There are consequences you got to face when it comes to stuff like that. You got to be careful of the words that you choose and how you label businesses, places, and people. Because there are people who are getting hurt for no reason because of labels. Because today we are the most sensitive, emotional generation. And not my generation. I'm talking about the generation that we're living in right now. A lot of people are very emotional and very sensitive, really fast. It don't take but just one word to set off an entire group of people in a chain of events that could ultimately lead to someone's demise. And this is why when people kind of like tend to throw words like that around like it's nothing, I'm not attacking them to be upset with them. I'm not attacking them to hurt them. I am saying something to open their eyes to a much broader view. You don't have to like the way that the business model is set out, but it's not set to discriminate against a specific class of people. That's just how they run their business. And to be fair and point it out, if the shoe was on the other foot, that person wouldn't just trust anybody to take a phone from them without putting anything down. You may at this moment say, yeah, well, I'm a nice person. I'll let anyone take a phone from me without putting a down payment down, and I'll collect the payments later. But when you start getting screwed from one person and then the next person and then the next person, let's see how your business mind thinks when you're like another person comes up and says, hey, let me get that new phone from you. I'll buy it from you, but I'm going to make payments in 3 years. I'll pay it off. Let's see if you don't sit there and look at them and judge them by the way that they look and say, yeah, I can do that, but I'm going to need $400 from you down first. I'm just saying. So no, there's no ill feelings and anything like that with the said person that I had a conversation with, because I like having conversations like that with people. I don't like people always agreeing with me on things. And I hope people understand that I'm not always going to agree with them on things that they say just because, they're friendly with me on social platforms and stuff like that. I like having these types of conversations because it shows people both sides of the table. You get both sides. So yeah, I'm looking at my Kool-Aid. I don't know why. Anyways, what say you guys? Do real world research. Yeah. But it is a discrimination, basically, really. Same as democracy. It's a legalized dictatorship. I really don't see that point of view, because technically they don't have to let you finance anything. They don't have to have any finance obligations at all. They don't have to have any finance plans. There's nothing in the rule book that says that you own a business, so you have to sell your product to someone who can't buy it. Because really, that's what it is. When you're asking for a company to finance something, you're telling them that you can't buy it. You can buy it over time if they let you make minimum payments, but you can't buy it all right now. So businesses don't have to. They don't have to do that. They can sit there and say, okay, you know what? You can't afford to buy this right now, but you really, really, really want it or need it. So save your money and come back when you have all of it. And then that's fair. They don't lose out on a product. They don't have to worry about taking a loss and having to redistribute that loss to customers to recoup some of that loss back. That is capitalism. Sorry to say it. And I know some countries don't believe in capitalism. They have their own view on it. I'm not saying that their country's wrong for the way that they do things and the way that we do things. No. Well, it's not, because on an everyday thing. And watch, I'll prove my point right now. Everyone's got a good amount of friends, a good group of friends, right? Now, you can tell me, no, I'm wrong here, and be lying just to save face, but you know the truth deep down inside. In every group of friends that you have, there's that one friend that you don't trust. There's that one friend that you're okay to hang out with, you're okay to kick it with, but you don't believe everything that they say. They're that type of friend that you'll go out to the club and party with, you'll go out to the park and play football with, but you wouldn't leave them alone in your house longer than 2 minutes without thinking that maybe they found my game system, maybe they're going to snatch it and run. Okay? Everybody thinks that way. Sorry to say it, everybody does. There's that one person that you just don't have that kind of trust for. Right? There's also that one friend that you don't have that trust for that you used to have trust for. They used to be tight with you. They used to be close to you. Hell, you would be like, yo, I'm going with my girl to the Bahamas, man. I need you to watch my crib while I'm gone. And you give them the keys to your house. You go to the Bahamas for 3 days. You come back, that friend's missing. Your PS5 is gone. You know, your dog's missing. The back door's left wide open. You piece things out with that person, but would you ever tell that person, like, hey, you know what, I'm getting married and I'm going on my honeymoon to Hawaii, watch my house? No, you don't gotta tell the person to watch your house, because they already ruined that trust with you once. That's credit. Credit will tell somebody if they are trustworthy or if they're not. You yourself wouldn't trust somebody that you felt like is untrustworthy. It's the same principle here. No business is required by law to let you finance. Like, they don't have to. They never had to. They never had to work with the bank on financial options and plan layouts for anyone to be able to finance something. It's just businesses know it is good business to allow someone to walk away with the product now, but pay for it later. What I was using with that analogy is based upon trust, right? That's what it's all about when it comes to this whole business financing thing, is trust. Trust that you can take care of your end of the obligation. If I gave you this now, if I gave you this product now, here, take it, walk away with it, go home. I know that you'll finish paying it off in 24 months. That's what I'm saying. I lost you with that one. Well, the reason I'm saying is because, like, it's a trust thing, right? When it comes to using your credit, that's what your credit represents. How trustworthy are you for a company to shoulder the risk of letting you walk away with the product now and making payments over time? There's no business out there that really has to. They never did. Since commerce became a thing and we were no longer on the barter system anymore, we were paying with actual value, gold, silver, which converted to becoming, the US dollar, the dollar bill, and some change, right? If I opened up a store back in like, let's say 1827, back then what people used for credit, right, was like work. Like, hey, you know what? Like, I want to get that cow for my ranch, but I don't have all this gold that you want for the cow. So I'll tell you what, you give me the cow, and what I'll do is I'm going to raise that cow. I'm going to milk it. So I got milk to sell. But for the amount of milk that I got, if I can produce 15 jars, I'll give you 5 jars to sell in your store, and I'll sell 10 jars until I've made the rest of the balance back. Yeah, now I got you trading value. Yeah. But see, the trust thing comes in there, right? If it was somebody that you knew that was not trustworthy, would you trust them to take the cow and trust them on their word? They're going to bring you 5 jars of milk for you to sell in your store to make off the remainder payment. Or are you just going to say, look, I know you like to screw your deals, so I want my money up front. If you want this cow, you got to pay it all up front. It's not discriminating against anybody because you're saying, hey, I can tell by your financial patterns, you're not very good at making payments. So to spare you, buy this outright or save your money and come back when you have all of it and then buy it out. But I'm not going to let you take it today with even putting $1 down. Like that's what I mean by the whole, we all have that friend that we don't trust. You have a group of friends, and that's the point that I'm putting out is like, if you don't trust a friend like in that way, that's how businesses feel about you. It's like your credit tells them who you are. If you got great credit, then you're that good friend that they can put the keys in your hands and go to the Bahamas and leave you watching their house and know that you're not going to steal from them. You're not going to raid their underwear drawers. You're not going to leave the back door open and let their dog escape. Like you're going to maintain shit. You're going to make sure everything is good by the time they come back. They had a great vacation. They come home to a safe home. You shake their hand. You go home back to your house. That's a person with good credit. Person with bad credit, really bad credit, untrustworthy is that person that you're like, I'm going to the Bahamas. Here's the keys to my house. Watch my house while I'm on my, my vacation. And that person comes back home and the back door is left open. The dog is gone. The PS5 is missing. The underwear drawer has been ransacked. The food is empty in the refrigerator. That's what I mean. The trust of somebody. We all have that one friend in our group. I'm saying that because you can't tell me you went through your entire life trusting everybody, even if they burned you over once, twice, 3 times. Do you still trust the same people who screwed you over? Are you even still friends with them? I never house sit at anybody's house in my entire life because I never want to be responsible for something missing. See, I don't trust people. But it's not that I don't trust people watching my stuff. I don't trust people who trust me saying, hey, you're very trustworthy, watch my house. No way. Because I don't want to be accused of anything being missing. You can't accuse me of something missing out of your house if I was never in it. And that's the type of person I am. So no, I will not watch anybody's home. I will not house sit for somebody. If someone's like, hey, I need you to, I'm going to bring my cat to your house. I need you to watch my cat. No way. Because you're not going to come at me later on and say that I owe you $500 because your precious cat died a week after you picked it up for me and try to accuse me and say that I wasn't feeding it a balanced diet. Like, no, I don't like to ruin friendships like that. So with good friends and stuff like that, if it's like an absolute emergency, then yeah. But if it's something like, I'm going to go with my girlfriend to Florida. No, I'm not going to watch your house. Get someone else to watch your house. Get a family member, not me. I won't do it. But anyways, all right, guys, I'm going to hop off. So yeah, the 2 things I leave you guys with today. I don't need the Pixel 6. I want it. That's the difference. I can live without it. I can be just fine with my Pixel 5. It handles everything very well. It still does things that I want to do, and I don't feel like that I'm missing out on anything. Do I want the Pixel 6? You damn right I do. And I'll eventually buy mine. Of course, setback. And, someone needed the money that I saved more than I did. So I will say this right now. Check out the post on Carlos S. Tech. One of his friends was shot at 1:00 in the morning a few days ago for walking their dog. And so there's a GoFundMe going on right now And if you'd like to help out that person, that'd be great. Like I said, go to Carlos S. Tech's channel, and he has a post on there in his community tab area, and it has a link to the GoFundMe. Are you doing the Pixel Pass? No, I don't have great credit at all. And at this time right now, because I want to buy a house, I'm not going to do anything that's going to impact my credit because I'm looking to buy a house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the phone. That's why I was saving up for it. However, I did take a loss. It's not really a loss because the money is going somewhere better than a phone. Like, somebody needing help in life is much better than me just getting a new phone to play with. Like, it's just really, honestly, it's just a phone. I can live a couple of more months without it and get one. But somebody may absolutely need help coming out of a situation like this. So I don't have the GoFundMe link. I'm about to jam out right now, but yeah, look for it. And if you guys can help, you guys can. Like Carlos said, don't put yourself in a financial strain. If you don't have money to donate, don't scratch up money to donate that could help you out. But if you can give it, that'd be great to help this person out. Because this person served our country in the military, and so I do have a lot of respect for our military personnel. I'm a military brat myself. My father did 20 years in the United States Air Force. My younger sister currently right now is she does work on the B-52 bombers. So she is a secondary pilot on that plane. And yeah, she's a lieutenant in the United States Air Force. So I have mad respect for what she does. She serves our country and everything like that. So yeah, I gave up what I saved. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking out the live stream. Y'all be cool, be safe. And I'll talk to you on the next one.